Oh, Fitz. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I am very excited to be doing the Robin Hobb Tag. This is an original tag that Stephanie from Miss Richards Reads created, and so her video, my video, along with Andrew from Andrew's Wizardly Reads, Leslie from The Nerdy Narrative, and Angela from the Lit Sci Alliance are all going to be going out at the same time, and if you're watching this one, they should already be out, and the links to them will all be in the description. So I was really excited to do this because I have absolutely just loved Robin Hobb so much, all of the stuff that I've read. Right now, I'm up through Golden Fool, and we'll be reading Fool's Fate very, very soon, and so it's just super happy to jump on this tag. And the problem is, this is a lot of prompts that are like your favorite this, your favorite that. And a lot of the prompts, like, I want to choose what the prompt is for the answer to it because so many favorite things that would fit so well because the prompts are really well written would be from Realm of the Elderlings. And then I also didn't want to just like pick a ton of stuff from The Wheel of Time or pick a ton of Sanderson. So I've limited this to, I think successfully, no more than one answer per author. And so because of that, I'm going to be doing some stuff that's not necessarily a favorite, but are things I really enjoyed from a book I recently read. So with no further ado, let's jump into the questions. So the first prompt is the skill, and it says favorite magical ability. So I went with the magic system that is from a book that I actually just very recently read, which will have a review coming soon, but that is Unsold by Will White, and that's from the Cradle series. The book has this really interesting magic system that is kind of like halfway between, like, it's a life force that's being harvested, but it's called Madra, and different people can do all kinds of different things, and there were so many different just like cool, interesting things that were done, including the Path of Endless Swords, which was a really cool one from that book. So there's just a lot of different stuff they can do with the magic. Everybody can do different things. You can like learn different techniques. You can create your own techniques. And I thought it was really interesting, so I enjoyed it. There were definitely a few other magic systems that came to mind, but I used the authors of those books for other prompts, so I decided to go with that one. Number 2 is Fitz, a book that made you cry. So I've said before in similar prompts, I've never read a book that made me cry. I'm just not much of a crier. But Robin Hobb has definitely had the books that I felt like wrecked me a little bit emotionally anyway. So obviously I can't pick a Robin Hobb book because that would probably defeat the purpose of the tag. So I went with, this is probably kind of cheating, but I went with Child of Flame by Kate Elliott. This is book 4 in the Crown of Stars series, and this book's very specifically had a plot line that reminded me of something Hobb would write. There was a specific character in this book who just, their whole plot, I'm just like, oh no, and it just gave me similar feelings to when I'm reading about Fitz, and I'm just knowing all these terrible things are going to happen, and I as the reader know more of what's going on because of the way Hobb always writes, which is the irony of Fitz not knowing what's going to happen or not realizing what's going on, but you, the reader, know. Had one of those in here that was just so good, and it was very, very sad. Like I said, I didn't cry, but it was very, very emotionally charged, and it was a good one. Number 3 is The Fool, and the prompt is friendship, or a favorite friendship or friend group. So lots of things I could choose here too. Definitely one that I just absolutely loved, though, is going to be Corbin and the gang from The Faithful and the Fallen. Specifically in Ruin, there were just some really, really great friendship scenes where all of the different friends had to really band together and go against the odds, and just for like showing how good of friends they are with like Corbin and Dath and Gar and Corlin and Cywin and all of them just all together. Like some of them end up like pairing off, some of them are related, but all of them just had this really core, strong friendship. And I really, really enjoyed that dynamic. It was definitely something, you know, it got to the point of like found family, which is abounding in Faithful and the Fallen, but it was just done so well. And there was one specific scene I remember where, without any spoilers, basically Corbin's telling his friends something he doesn't think that they're going to want to hear, and he's just like worried about what would happen, and they come together and still supportive anyway, and some great friendship there. All right, number 4 is Althea, and the prompt is favorite protagonist, which makes me think that Althea must be Stephanie's favorite, but I mean, it fits for me out of Realm of the Elderlings, I have to say that. But so here's my one per list. We're going to go with Matt from The Wheel of Time. The Wheel of Time, favorite series, like I said, I could pick something for every single one of these prompts and have it from The Wheel of Time if I really wanted, but I try not to do that. But favorite character from my favorite series, Matt definitely is a fitting answer for this one. He's one of those characters where early on his character is very different from what he becomes, but I just absolutely loved reading about him. I loved the stuff that was done with his character, especially in the later books. So we're going with Matt. All right, so number 5 is Ophelia, and this is favorite sassy character or funny book. And so for this one, I decided to go with a book that I read kind of recently, which was The Black Tongue Thief by Christopher Buehlman. This book, and I had read an e-arc of it, so I actually still don't have a physical copy, but I want to get one at some point, because I'll definitely be continuing the series as well. Not only was the book funny and had a lot of humor, but I definitely think Kinch qualifies as sassy. Even though he's narrating just the way he talks and goes about everything, I think definitely qualifies. But I really enjoyed that book. It had a lot of just unique things, and the flow of the story, the narration, the humor with like the dark and serious moments as well flowed really well. So I thought that fit both parts of this prompt pretty well. I still am excited to read more Buehlman. I want to read some of his other stuff because I really like this one, but it'll happen at some point. So number 6 is The Six Duchies, and its favorite magical world or setting. So we're going magical world. One that I've been enjoying immensely would be Discworld. So I grabbed a couple here, but Discworld just can have pretty much any type of story. It's a silly world to begin with, but the more you learn about it, the more different areas, regions, it's just kind of a world where anything goes, and there's always a lot of humor and fun, no matter what part or what timeline you're in of Discworld. So that definitely, I think, qualifies as one of my favorite magical lands and just settings in general. I'm at the point where I don't think I'm going to dislike any of the Discworld books. Even the ones that I like less, I still really enjoy and have a lot of fun with. So Discworld has been great. All right, number 7 is Nighteyes and its favorite animal companion, which, come on, like, I want to pick Nighteyes for the Nighteyes prompt because I love Nighteyes, and Nighteyes is amazing, but I decided to go with a different wolf, and that from Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, and that is Kantaga. I have the first book here, The Dragonbone Chair. Kantaga I've really enjoyed as a companion, and does definitely, we were actually just, a few of us were talking in the Discord about how Storm from Faithful and the Fallen and Kantaga and Nighteyes, despite all being wolves, did seem to actually have different personalities with only one, Nighteyes, of course, you get a little bit more of his personality because of the way the wit works, but Kantaga and Storm both just being basically wolves, but both having pretty different personalities, differences too. But I've really enjoyed Kantaga, and especially since that's Benebek's companion, and I love Benebek, that definitely helps matters along as well, because doing this, which I'm reading book 2 right now. I'm over halfway done and just loving it, so I'm really excited to continue. All right, number 8 is Brashen, and the prompt is favorite love interest. And this one's fun because I did not like Brashen as a love interest. I still am not cool with that relationship. I didn't care for it. But I on that note, kind of like an unorthodox love interest, I went with Blackstone Heart by Michael R. Fletcher. I still really need to read the second book of this, She Dreams of Blood. But this was such a fun book, and it had like moments of just crazy darkness, moments of great humor, and it does have some romance in here as well. And I don't want to spoil it, so what I'm going to say is both of the love interests that are in this book I thought were really great, and there was a lot of contrasting layers to them, and like I said, I don't want to say anything more, but I enjoyed both. I thought both worked really, really well for those different characters. So that's as far as I'm going to go, because like I said, I don't want to spoil anything for this one. But it was a really great book. I am still excited to read the second one. All right, so number 9 is Kyle, favorite villain. And man, I hated Kyle in the books, and it does make me laugh that like he was Kyle before that was even like a name that people made jokes about, and he still was a total Kyle. But his character I thought was so interesting because Hobb, as she does, writes a pretty terrible character, but also like gives you enough that you're like, I can kind of see where they're coming from a little bit, and then he of course does lots of other stuff where you're like, oh, never mind. But so for favorite villain, that's always a hard one because there's a lot to choose from. So I went with what has become kind of my go-to answer, which is Lord Fowl from the Thomas Covenant series. I have the first book here, Lord Fowl's Bane. Lord Fowl is just such a great villain. I don't normally actually super care for overall the just like overarching evil type villains completely. I like to have different villains in there as well. Granted, like, the Wheel of Time has the overarching villain, and that's my favorite, so maybe I do. But Lord Fowl is just, you get more of him too. Like, he's like somewhat the presence, but also like very much has a personality, and you get a lot there. And I just really, really loved all of the philosophical connotations that went along with Lord Fowl and his presence of evil as well. And so it's done in the style of a classic fantasy evil, but in a really interesting way as in Thomas Covenant. So something I very much enjoyed. Number 10, Kennit. And this is a character or book you love to hate. And I had to go with here. Another reason I didn't use this one for a magic system, it has one of my favorite magic systems, but a character that I absolutely just love to hate, because it's a great character, but I hate him, would be Andros Guile from Lightbringer, and I fear the last book, The Burning White. Andros is just a terrible guy, and you do, when you get more backstory, you can kind of see where he's coming from and still hate him. And I think that's just me, a character that well. And Robin Hobb is the master at the characters that you love to hate, that they're terrible and you hate them, but they're such good characters. So definitely I could have picked some Hobb ones, even besides Kennit, like freaking Regal. But Andros Guile is, I think, a great example of that just terrible character, but enjoyable to read and fleshed out really, really well, too, I thought. Especially in the last book, you really get more on the motivations of Andros, and so he's still a terrible person. I still hate him, but I really like the amount of fleshing out that was done for it. And then we have 11, Vivacia, and this is favorite character that is a sentient object. And this one was kind of hard because I was thinking, and I don't know that many books that have sentient objects, and then I realized there was a really obvious one that also is a character that I really enjoy, and also why I haven't had any Sanderson picks yet, but that is going to be Nightblood from Warbreaker. Warbreaker was, I read this right after Mistborn when it was brand new, so it was one of the earliest Sanderson books that I read. I reread it a couple times. I still really, really enjoy this. But Nightblood is just such a great character, and I'm so interested to find out more about Nightblood in other stories. I'm not saying anything too specific to avoid spoilers, but I'm really interested to see where it goes, and I already enjoy where the character of Nightblood has gone. But if you're talking about sentient objects, a sentient sword works pretty well, and Nightblood is just awesome. I mean, what more can I say? I love me some Nightblood. So that's where I went with that. So that is the Robin Hobb tag. I hope you enjoyed it here. I definitely want to make sure I tag some other Robin Hobb fans. So hopefully I should tag people who actually did not care for it. That would be really fun. Maybe not. Maybe I won't do that, but it would be funny to do so, I think. But in all seriousness, I do want to make sure I tag some people who I know have been reading and generally enjoying. So a lot of the people, because I have to shout out Cryptic, who doesn't have a channel, but is like a Robin Hobb super fan. And of course, there's Jennifer Robin, who is even maybe even more of a Robin Hobb super fan. We secretly think that she is Robin Hobb. Is kind of the running theory there. But I want to make sure I get some people who are reading it, so I'm going to tag Books with Ike, because I know I saw him in Discord reading it. Stacy's all booked, who I know I saw in our Discord and was reading Realm of the Elderlings. And then, since I've been doing a many-month buddy read with her, of course, I'll tag Megan for Megan's reading Revelations as well. And I think that should round out pretty well. I'll do those 3 for now, and that will be that. So, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. Check the link in the description for the links to all the other people who are doing this tag here on the same day. Like I said, the links will be below for all of them. I can't wait to watch them myself. And of course, also check the link in the description for the Wizardly Duo Discord. If you want to jump in, talk about Robin Hobb or anything else, we got a ton of discussion going on all of the time, and it is a heck of a lot of fun. We'd love to have you. And of course, if you'd like to see more of my content, make sure to subscribe.